Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into, well, the world of artificial intelligence.ai. It's a term that, it buzzes around us constantly. It's in our apps, our phones, the news headlines. But our mission today, really, for you, our listener, is to cut through all that noise. We want to give you some clarity, maybe some insights you haven't thought about, and just a clearer view of this really rapidly evolving force. Think of this as your shortcut, your quick guide to understanding not just what AI is, but why it matters so much right now. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. At its most sort of fundamental level, artificial intelligence. It refers to tech designed to do tasks that normally need human intelligence. Things like solving complex problems or recognizing really intricate patterns, making decisions based on data. And these systems, they can range quite a bit from like simple rule-based algorithms all the way to these incredibly sophisticated models that actually learn and adapt over time, often without more human input.
Right. And it's fascinating how many different forms of AI we actually bump into, often without realizing it. Most of what we use day to day, that's what we call narrow AI, or sometimes weak AI. This is AI built for one specific, very well-defined job. Think about the facial recognition on your phone, or those language translation apps getting better all the time. Even powerful tools like ChatGPT, they're amazing conversationally, right? But the key thing, the insight here, is they're incredibly capable within that specific area. They don't have general understanding or, common sense. They are masters of spotting patterns, not necessarily reasoning. And that distinction is just crucial when we think about where they're used. Then in, stark contrast, you have the idea of artificial general intelligence at AGI or strong AI. Now, this is still completely theoretical, just an idea, but it would have human-level intelligence. It could understand, learn, and do any intellectual task a human can. And even further out, like pure theory here, is super intelligent AI, something that would surpass human smarts in basically every way.
That difference, narrow versus general intelligence, yeah, that seems absolutely key to understanding where we are now. So, how does a system actually learn if it doesn't have that sort of human-like general intelligence? How does that work?
Well, it mainly comes down to a few key machine learning approaches. First up is supervised learning. That's where the AI gets trained on data that's been carefully labeled, lots of it. So it basically learns from seeing the correct answers over and over. The big challenge there, as anyone in the field will tell you, is just the huge cost and time it takes to label all that data. It's massive. Then you've got unsupervised learning. Here, the AI looks at unlabeled data and has to find patterns and relationships all by itself.
Ah, okay. No answer key.
Exactly. No answer key. It's like finding structure in chaos, really. And finally, there's reinforcement learning. This is more like learning through trial and error. The AI interacts with an environment, tries things, and gets feedback, maybe a reward for doing well or a penalty for messing up.
Like training a puppy, but with algorithms.
Hey, yeah, something like that.
So shifting to right now, 2024, heading into 2025, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. One area is just dominating everything, generative AI, Gen AI. This is the AI that actually creates new stuff, text, images, code, even video now. And it's a democratization, right? Making these powerful tools available to almost anyone. That's been a total game changer. The numbers back this up too. Something like 65% of organizations are now regularly using Gen AI. That's a huge jump, like 49% up from just last year. And the money. Wow. Private funding for Gen AI alone shot up 8 times in 2023, reached an incredible $25.2 billion. That's not just pocket change. That tells you there's this massive shift in venture capital. They're moving from broad AI research to, specific applications. Investors clearly think Gen AI is the fastest way to make money and have real impact now.
Absolutely. And that huge adoption, that flood of investment, it's having a profound impact everywhere, across all industries. AI is getting woven deeper and deeper into our workplaces. It's automating those time-sucking repetitive tasks, which, frees people up and boosts productivity. We're actually hearing IT leaders say they expect something like 20% of their tech budgets in 2025 will be earmarked for AI.
Right.
And most of that, Gen AI applications. So this isn't some far-off future thing. It's actively changing how businesses run, how we do our jobs day to day.
And it's not just text anymore, right? We're seeing these amazing leaps in what's called multimodal AI. These are the models that can now handle and integrate information from different places, audio, video, images, as well as text.
Exactly.
Which makes things like search or creating content feel much more seamless, more intuitive. You can do more complex things with less human effort. I mean, imagine an AI that doesn't just get your words, but can also pick up on the emotion in your voice, maybe read your facial expressions in a video. That feels like a pretty big step, doesn't it?
Oh, it's a huge step. And the speed.
Yeah.
It's truly remarkable. It's fueled by this really intense innovation race,
Mm.
among the big tech companies. Microsoft, for example, they've literally rebranded their Edge browser as an AI browser.
Ah,
They baked in Bing AI, GPT-4 Copilot, DLE3 for images,
Hmm.
and their Copilot Pro service.
Yeah.
That brings GPT-4 Turbo right into Microsoft 365 apps. Big boost for creativity, productivity.
Right.
Then you have OpenAI launching their GPT store. That's basically letting anyone build and even sell their own custom AI models. No
Mhm.
coding needed. That's huge for access.
Wow.
Google's pushing hard, too, with things like Gemini and these incredible new image and video models. Lumiere, for instance, it can generate short, like 5-second videos just from text or an image prompt,
Mhm.
and they look startlingly real.
I've seen some examples, yeah. Pretty wild.
And even in robotics. We're seeing progress there, too. Humanoids like Figures 1 showing off agility, adaptive learning.
Mm.
They taught it to make coffee just by watching videos for about 10 hours.
Make coffee,
You-
seriously.
Yeah. So it's this constant flow of new stuff, new breakthroughs. It keeps the whole AI landscape incredibly dynamic. Always something new around the corner.
But AI isn't just about, tech wizardry or corporate competition. It's becoming really deeply embedded in our everyday lives, and it brings these profound societal implications with it. When you actually stop and think about it, the real-world uses are just incredibly diverse already.
Oh, absolutely. If we step back a bit, AI is already making huge waves across different sectors globally.
Hmm.
Take healthcare. It's analyzing medical scans, helping doctors with diagnoses, tailoring treatment plans to individuals, even speeding up drug discovery.
That's potentially life-changing stuff.
Definitely. In finance, it's indispensable for catching fraud and for algorithmic trading, where computers make trades in milliseconds based on complex data.
Mm.
Humans can't compete with that speed.
Hmm.
Retail uses it heavily for those personalized recommendations you see everywhere and for making inventory management much smarter. And, of course, autonomous vehicles. That's a really visible example of AI trying to reshape transportation as we know it.
Okay, so beyond those specific industry examples, what are the sort of broader benefits? What's AI really bringing to the table for us?
Well, fundamentally, I'd say AI really boosts efficiency.
Yeah.
It takes over tasks that are dangerous or just mind-numbingly repetitive or super time-consuming, and that frees up people, humans, for more creative work, more complex problem-solving. It also seriously enhances decision-making. How? By finding predictive insights hidden in these absolutely vast data sets no human could ever possibly process.
Right, the scale is just different.
Totally different scale. And it enables incredibly personalized experiences
Right.
across all sorts of services and products, tailoring things to your specific preferences in a way that just wasn't feasible before.
And interestingly, AI is wading into creative fields too, generating art, music, text, which naturally brings up some really fascinating, sometimes pretty controversial questions. Questions about originality, what human creativity even means anymore. You see platforms like Canva, for example, integrating AI tools to help people create content faster. It shows how practical it's becoming in creative work. It really makes you pause, doesn't it? To think how fast this is moving and what it means for our whole idea of artistic expression. Okay, now, with all this incredible power, all this promise, there obviously comes some equally profound responsibilities. So what are the really critical ethical questions, the ones we absolutely have to grapple with as AI gets more and more woven into everything? These aren't small side issues. They seem to be right at the center of global discussions now.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And one huge issue that keeps coming up is bias and injustice. The problem is AI systems learn from data. If that data reflects historical biases or is just skewed,
Then the AI learns the bias.
exactly, it can perpetuate, even amplify those real-world prejudices.
Mhm.
The classic example everyone points to is Amazon's old hiring algorithm attempt.
Mhm.
It ended up being biased against women simply because the historical hiring data it learned from reflected past biases. They had to scrap it.
Right, I remember that.
Then there's privacy and data protection. AI often needs enormous amounts of data to train effectively, and that raises huge concerns about individual privacy, especially if data is collected without really clear, informed consent. Where does it all go? Who sees it?
Hmm.
Accountability and explainability are also incredibly tricky. Think about it. Who's responsible when an AI makes a mistake? Especially if it's in a high-stakes situation, like approving a loan or, God forbid, in a judicial context.
Yeah, who do you blame? The programmer, the data, the AI itself.
Precisely. And adding to that complexity is the black box problem. Many advanced AI models, their internal decision-making process involves millions, maybe billions of calculations. It's practically impossible for a human to follow the exact logic step by step. So when it makes a decision, especially a bad one, explaining why can be incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible, that lack of transparency is a serious hurdle.
A black box, yeah. You don't know what's happening inside.
Right. But of course, there's labor disruption, technological unemployment. AI definitely creates new jobs, new roles we haven't even thought of yet, but it undeniably impacts existing jobs. It changes what skills are needed, maybe makes some roles obsolete. So there are big questions about displacement, about making sure people have fair access to the new opportunities.
The transition challenge.
Exactly. And we can't ignore the environmental impact either. Training these huge AI models takes immense computational power, which translates directly to significant energy consumption and, consequently, considerable carbon emissions. That's a growing concern. And finally, there are these broader, maybe more unsettling concerns about misuse and even existential risk. We worry about malicious uses, enhanced surveillance, creating hyper-realistic deepfakes to spread misinformation, developing autonomous weapons.
Scary stuff.
Yeah. And beyond that, there are these ongoing, pretty intense debates about the long-term sort of existential risks. What happens if we eventually create super-intelligent AI that surpasses human control? That's a big question looming out there.
Okay, so given all these really profound ethical considerations, it makes sense that governments, international bodies are scrambling to develop rules, regulatory frameworks. It sounds like a really dynamic, fast-moving space right now.
It absolutely is. You see different approaches emerging. The EU AI Act, for instance, is really groundbreaking. It categorizes AI systems based on their risk level. It actually bans unacceptable risk AI, things like government-run social scoring systems, which raise obvious ethical alarms.
Like in China, potentially?
Potentially, yes. And it puts really strict rules on high-risk systems, AI used in critical infrastructure, medical devices, things like that. Then you have frameworks like the OECD AI principles. These are more principle-based, less prescriptive law. They emphasize things like human-centered values, fairness, transparency, accountability, kind of a guiding philosophy.
More guidelines than hard rules.
Right. The United States, meanwhile, has taken a much more fragmented approach. It's more sector-specific. They tend to rely more on voluntary guidance from industry, self-regulation, which, has led to some concern about consistency, about whether there's enough accountability.
A lighter touch, maybe too light for some.
Perhaps. The UK is trying to strike a balance. They call it a pro-innovation stance. They're mostly relying on existing laws, plus a set of 5 guiding principles. They let regulators in different sectors tailor the rules specifically for their areas. And then there's UNESCO's recommendation on the ethics of AI. This is important because it's a global framework. And it uniquely stresses moving beyond just stating high-level principles to figuring out practical, real-world strategies to actually implement them.
It definitely sounds like a patchwork quilt of approaches globally. The EU seems quite prescriptive, the US more hands-off, the UK somewhere in between. From your perspective, looking at these different models, what are the main strengths or weaknesses you see? And is there any sort of global consensus emerging, or is it just too early?
Well, that's a great way to put it. It really highlights the central tension, doesn't it? The EU's approach is comprehensive, no doubt. Its strength is that proactive stance on protecting fundamental rights. But the criticism is, maybe it could stifle innovation with all the strict rules.
The red tape argument.
Exactly. The U.S. model, on the other hand, clearly prioritizes innovation, allows for faster development, perhaps. But the risk is that fragmented oversight, maybe slower reactions when problems do pop up. The UK is trying to thread that needle, balancing innovation with safeguards. Globally, I'd say there is a strong push towards those principle-based frameworks like the OECD and UNESCO recommendations. Why? Because they offer flexibility. They can be adapted more easily across different countries, different legal systems.
Makes sense.
But the real challenge, the big hurdle, is going to be translating those nice-sounding principles into actual, enforceable, harmonized rules, especially because AI development itself is so global.
Right, the tech doesn't respect borders.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So, it's a really complex puzzle. And honestly, we're probably just seeing the first few pieces being put onto the board right now.
So wrapping this all together, what does this mean for the road ahead? When we look out maybe 5, 10 years, what does the future of AI really look like based on everything we've discussed?
Well, based on the trends and the insights from, the current landscape and research, we could probably project a few key things pretty confidently. First, AI has continued integration into pretty much every aspect of our lives. It's going to seep into even more industries, more fields, probably in ways we can't even fully imagine today.
Deeper and wider.
Deeper and wider, exactly. Second, the pursuit of artificial general intelligence, AGI. That's going to continue. Researchers will keep pushing those boundaries, trying to create more capable, more flexible machines. And that quest itself might force us to redefine our own understanding of what intelligence even means.
Interesting point.
And third, critically, those ethical considerations. The need for robust regulation, for thoughtful policy, that's not going away. If anything, it becomes even more paramount as AI gets more powerful. We'll constantly be navigating this paradox, right? The immense promise of AI alongside its really profound challenges, that tension will only become more apparent, I think.
Yeah, it's crystal clear that this AI revolution it isn't just another tech shift. It feels much more fundamental, like a societal transformation. And understanding its nuances, the good, the bad, the complicated, that seems crucial for you, for all of us, as we collectively try to shape what comes next. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive into the incredible, complex world of artificial intelligence. We really hope this discussion has given you a clearer, maybe more insightful picture of where things stand and where they might be heading. And we definitely encourage you to keep exploring, stay curious about AI's impact. It's changing our world fast. Maybe a final thought for you to mull over. As AI continues to learn and adapt in ways we're only beginning to grasp, what new definition of intelligence might we as a society actually need to embrace?